Hello everyone, you're all welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew this 6-piece skirt and also an 8-piece skirt. If this is your first time of being here, please do subscribe, like, comment, and also share. So let's dive right into the video. I'll be drafting on a pattern paper before transferring to fabric. So I have to add extra because the pattern paper, the length is not enough. We are working with length of 42. So I've gone ahead to place my tape on the waistline, which is also the start line. I marked my hip point of 9 inches, my knee point of 21 inches, and also the full length of our skirt, which is 42 inches. I went ahead to make my point. So we are just going to be drafting the front part of this skirt. The back part, we're going to use this front pattern to cut out the back part of the skirt. Okay, so as we go on, you understand what I'm saying better. So I'll go on to mark my round waist, which is 34 inches, divide that by 4, and I'll mark it there. I'll also add 1 inch for that intake. Then I'll divide my hip measurement of 43 inches. I'll divide it by 4 and also mark it there, 10.75. Then at my knee line, I'm going to minus 1.5 inches from my hip. You can minus 2 inches as well, but I'll be making the 1.5 inches from my hip measurement, which will give me 9.25. So I'll mark that at my knee line, and I'll also extend that measurement to my hem, to the hem of my skirt. I'm going to be placing the 9.25 at the hem of my skirt. I'll go on and connect all my dots. So if you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please subscribe, like, comment, share our videos, and turn on your post notification bell so you're updated whenever I upload a new video. Thank you. So I'll go on to take my dart line, which is 9 inches divided by 2, 4.5, and I came down by 5 inches from that point. Then I'll go ahead to mark ½ inch at each side of the line, and I'm going to rule it down. So I'll come to my knee point, and at the knee point, I'm going to go up by 2 inches. I don't want the fitting of my skirt to start from the knee point exactly. That's why I'm going up by 2 inches so the fitting can move up a bit. So I'll come to the waistline. If you're not using you're not attaching this skirt to a blouse, like for me, I'm attaching to the blouse, come down at the waistline by ½ inch. Okay, but if you're attaching it to a blouse, there's no need for that. So I'm going to be extending my dart measurement down to my hemline. I'll come to the new knee point, and I'll be taking 1/4 of an inch at both sides. That's 0.25, half of ½ an inch. Yes. So I'll be ruling a dart at that point. I'll be creating a dart at that point, just like you can see there. This is going to give our skirt a better fit. So I'll go on and cut out the skirt. I won't be drafting the back pattern. We are going to be using this front pattern to create the back part of our skirt. Okay, we are using the slash and spread method in creating this 6-piece skirt instead of the usual one of dividing the measurement by 6. So this is like a simpler version of creating your 6-piece skirt. So just watch how I'm going about it, okay, and you will understand every step of it. So now I'm slashing through, cutting out the darts. So we have already created the dart at this point. So you just cut through your darts. And then I'm going to label the patterns. We have the center front and the side front. It's good you label it. So I'll come to the knee point and I'll take the measurement and divide what we have by 2. So I'm going to rule a straight line connecting from the knee point down to the hem point, down to the hem of our skirt. I'll do same thing for the side front, dividing it into 2 right from the knee point. Then the next thing, I'll go on to slash through that line. I will stop at the knee point. Then for the center front, I will slash to the side of it. Okay, there is a side of it and there's the other side that is like the front part. So I only slash to the side part of the center front. So I'm going to be introducing a new pattern. Okay, just like you can see. Now, this is where the difference between the 6 pieces and 8 pieces come in. If we are creating 8 pieces skirt, okay, we are going to be extending that front part. Okay, the part I'm holding down with my masking tape now, that place we can spread it as well. But since this is a 6 pieces skirt, I'm only going to be spreading to the side like you're seeing me doing right now. I only spread to the side. You can see the middle line is just straight. I only spread to the side. So I'm using 9 inches for my spread. You can use 6 inches, 7 inches, even 5 inches. It depends on the quantity of fabric that you have. Okay, so use your masking tape to hold it down, hold it together with the new pattern you introduced. Like for this skirt, I used 4 yards of Ankara. If you don't have up to that, reduce the inches you use in your spread. So this 9 inches is what I'm going to use for all my spread. Okay, so watch it and we'll see how we're going to go about it. So now I have my center front. I'm going to keep it aside. You see how the center front is looking. So now the side front, I'm going to introduce a different pattern paper for the side front. I'll go on to slash through that line first. Okay, so now for the side, I'm going to be slashing to both sides. Like you're seeing me doing, I'm at the knee point now. I'm going to slash to each side of the side front. You see what I'm doing? But for the center front, I only slash to one side. But for the side front, I'm slashing to both sides. So I'm introducing a new pattern and I'm going to mark a straight line on this new pattern that will be able to accommodate the spread for each part. Okay, so just mark the midpoint of your pattern and rule a straight line. This pattern is 28 inches in width. Remember, we are using 9 inches for our spread. So if you are using the lesser inches, you can use a lesser amount. Okay, so I'll rule the straight line and I'm going to be placing the midpoint of my pattern right on the straight line and I'll be spreading. I'm spreading 9 inches. I'll be marking my 9 inches at each side of this line. So that is it. I'll use my masking tape to hold down my pattern. So this side pattern, we are going to be this side front pattern. I'm going to be using this very pattern to cut out for side back as well because it's the same thing. The only difference for the back is the center, which you will see how we are going to navigate around that. So this is our side front and side back. So hold it down with your masking tape so it sticks well. I'll go ahead and measure that part of my pattern, and I'll replace that very measurement at the middle line. This is to ensure that everything aligns properly, and you can see how it's curved out in a circular, semicircular form. So I'll go on and cut out my panel. So yeah, here I have my side front. For both the front and the back is same thing, and then this is our center front. Now I've introduced my Ankara, and look at the way I folded it. Okay, it's unfold like this. Okay, this is what I'm going to use to cut out the center front. It's unfold, the edge is unfold, the edge specifically is unfold. I'm going to be placing my center front panel on the right from the folded edge like this. So for the center front panel, we need the edge to be unfold. It's not open, it's unfold. So this is the difference between the 6 and the 8 pieces. If it's 8 pieces, that middle point there is not going to be unfold, okay? Because you're going to be cutting that part of the 8 pieces, because you will also be spreading that side of 8 pieces. But for the 6 pieces, you can see we didn't spread that part of the panel. It's straight and is unfold. So note the difference. I've also gone ahead to add my stitching allowance to the side of my panel. This is what I'll be using to attach the 2 sides to the center front. So here I added 1/2 inch, and then at the hemline, at the hem point, I added 1 inch stitching allowance. So measure it to make sure, cross check it, make sure the measurement you have at the middle point is what you have at the side. So I'll be cutting it out. Just follow the allowance you added to cut out your panel. So we have our center front. When you open it up, you can see how it is. You can see the middle line is folded. So I've also gone ahead to fold for my side front. You can see I have to turn it the other way, because to save fabric, this side is fuller at this point after the way I cut it out. But if you know you're working with a fabric, just check the kind of fabric you're working with, that you can't switch like this. You need to maintain one side. So right now I'm adding my stitching allowance to the panel. Okay, this is the point I'll be joining with the center front. I'm adding 1/2 inch, and then at the side of my panel, okay, which is the hip part of the panel, this side that I'm adding right now is the part that I'll be joining with the center front. Okay, so now at the hip part, which I'll be joining side to side with that of the center back, I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches. Please get the difference. Okay, at the hip part, I'm adding 1.5 inches for my ease and for my stitching allowance. Okay, you need to add this so that in case your skirt is too tight, this is where you can open it up using this allowance. I added 1.5 from the waist before the knee. I reduced it to, at the knee I reduced it to 1 inch, so I used 1 inch down from the knee point. And at the hem I added 1 inch. I hope you get that. At that side I added half an inch. Okay, the side I'll be joining to the panel. At the hip point I added 1.5 from the waist to before the knee point. All right, and at the knee point I added 1 inch. Okay, so I used that 1 inch all the way down. You can see this panel is also on, the ankara is also on fold. We are not making use of the edge here. You can just put it on fold and cut out your fabric. This is the side front. I'm going to be cutting out this exact pattern. This, I'll be placing the fabric that I've cut out now. I'll be placing it on another folded fabric to get my side back. Like I said, it's the same thing. So this is what I'll be using for my side back. So I'm cutting the side back and the side front the same thing. So add your stitching allowance to the hem as well. So we are done with the sides. What we have left, also make sure you notch your hip point. It will help you differentiate between the sides, where to join to your center front and where your hip point is. And if you're working with an ankara fabric like mine, that the wrong face and the right face is almost the same thing, go ahead to mark your wrong face so you don't mess it up. So this is how I'm going to be joining it. These are my side front. Okay, and this is the center front here. You see, I'm going to be attaching it like this using half an inch. I hope you understand it now. So this is my center front. I'm going to be using this to create the center back. Very easy, just follow the process. I'm going to change it to center back. You know, at the center back we have our zip. Okay, so I need to add the zipper allowance there. I need to add the zipper allowance. At the waist I added 1 inch. At the waist I'm using 1 inch for my zipper allowance. At the hip I added 1.5. You can use 2 inches. And right from the knee point I reduced it to 1 inch. I hope you understand. We are creating for the center back now. So remember when we cut out the center front, it was on the folded edge. But for the center back, we are going to be opening it. We are going to split it open because we have our zipper at that point. So at the waist, I added 1 inch for our zipper allowance. At the hip point, I added 1.5, and at the knee, I added 1 inch. At the sides, I'm going to be adding our usual half an inch. Okay, so now to the down part of our center back, I'll be extending it using 9 inches. Go on and mark your stitching allowance for the hem. Then at the center back now, I'm going to be adding, it's going to be having a little form of tail. So I'm extending it out by 9 inches there. I hope you understand that. The back, if you look at the way the back is, you see that it have more drama than the front part. It extends out. So I'm going to be added 9 inches. I extended it by 9 inches at the center back. So for the center back, the spread is on both sides. And I'll go on to add my 1/2 inch for our stitching allowance. That's the part we're going to be stitching to the sides. So this is as simple as this. This is the modification we need to make to achieve our center back. This is it. So you can see I extended it by 9 inches. You can choose to extend it. It depends on the volume of tail you want at your back. You can extend it more. Okay, you can extend it more. You can even add extra. Instead of the 1 inch I added at the hem, you can add more to give it more of that fish-like, mermaid kind of effect. You can do that on this pattern as well. Okay. So you can see how it's looking. Go on and notch your zipper allowance. Do all the notches you can to make sure you don't mess up your panels. Don't mess up your panels. It's going to affect the outcome of your skirt. So make sure you notch your zipper points to know that, okay, this part is my center back. Notch the hip point so you know, okay, this is my hip part. Do all your notches. So here's our center back. Mark the wrong part of the fabric. I'm notching my hip point so I know that is a hip point for my zipper. This is a center front. I'll go over to my sewing machine. I'm going to be attaching the side front this way, right face facing each other, and I'll use 1/2 inch to stitch it on my sewing machine. I will also add the other part of the side front, right face facing each other, and I'll use 1/2 inch to stitch it as well. So I'll do that on my sewing machine and show you what we have. This is my back pattern. This is the center back. You can see it's splitted into two. These are the sides of the back. I'll go on and attach the side back to one of the panels. I will stitch using 1/2 inch. I'll do the same thing for the other side back, right face facing each other. I'll use 1/2 inch to stitch it on my machine. So I also cut out lining, same way I cut out the fabric, same thing. I've gone out here to stitch my lining for both the front and the back. You see how it's looking? So this is our fabric here. This is Ankara. I've stitched it and this is what we have. Now at that point where there is curve at the knee point, go on and give it a notch. This is going to help the shape come out better. It will relax better. You see what we have now? This is the back patterns. Notch it as well at the hip point, the curve part, so it relaxes well. Now I'm going to go on to attach my lining. I'm using a full lining for my skirt. Okay, you can choose to use half lining, it depends on what you want. I'm using a full lining. I'll be using my pin to hold it together. Make sure the lines are aligned well. The lines on the lining and that of the Ankara, make sure it's aligning properly, and use your pins to hold it down. Before taking it over to the sewing machine, make sure everything is aligning, the center lines, the side lines are aligning. I'm done stitching my lining to the fabric, and this is how the inner part of it is looking. You can see how the hem is. It's not bulging out. The lining is not moving out to the right face. So this is the back part of our skirt. I'll go ahead and place the right face facing each other. And from the waistline, I'll come down by 11 inches for my zipper. And from that 11 inches point, I will sew using 1 inch down to the hem. And also because I'm attaching this to a top, I'm going to be sewing in that upper part before attaching my zip. Right now, I'm just going ahead to measure the parts that I will sew in at the top. And I'm going to mark that on my skirt. I'm going to be sewing that part inward, but the rest part will be opened. That I'll be attaching to the top. I'm done doing that and also attaching my zipper, as you can see. Okay, I came down by 11 inches for my zipper, and then from that part I use 1 inch to sew down to the hem, and you can see the open part of the skirt. But if I was not attaching this to a top, I'll just go on and close the entire part there at the waistline. This is the front. So I'm placing the front and the back right face facing each other. I'll go over to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch it using my allowance. I'm done stitching and this is what we have. So guys, at this point, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please do subscribe, like, turn on the post notification bell so you're updated when I post the next video. This is our skirt. You can see our 6-piece skirt is ready. The total length of the skirt is 43 inches. So thank you guys for watching to this point. Remain blessed and see you in my next video.